Welcome to our I Am Workshop Conversation Series, a transformative journey designed to inspire self-discovery and ignite your creative spirit. With your hosts, Ana Maria Davalos, Maria Lanes, and Maclovia Martel.
So I meet the whole team. Fantastic
Yes,
team.
you do.
Wow.
Yes.
Wow.
It's Charlie's Angels.
Charlie's
Well,
Angels.
yes, I
Sort of.
see.
The-
Charlie's Angels. My goodness.
It's the 50-something Charlie's Angels.
Yes, the 50-something Charlie's Angels.
But we look like 30-something, you can say that.
Me too.
Today's guest, Carlos Rey. Thank you for joining us. Carlos
Thank you
is a
very much.
pioneer in purpose, trained at Harvard Business School, author of Purpose-Driven Organizations. During the past 15 years, Carlos has collaborated as a consultant and researcher in the development of organizational purpose and change management. So, Carlos, this show is about transformative moments in our lives that inspired us to help others. What life-changing experience has helped you on your journey? So, who was Carlos before this experience, and who is Carlos now?
Wow. So you start just
Bam.
straight, bang,
Bam.
straight. Who is Carlos? Well, Carlos is a dreamer. Yeah, and it's always been a dreamer since I was a child. I love just watching people, really connecting with people, observing what people was doing, and this is something I love. Another thing that Carlos was when he was a child was someone that dreamed with a better world. And this is really what I wanted to do, something for the world. So my parents, this is something they taught me. And I started doing many things when I was 16, 17, 18 years old. And then I decided to study business economics. Why business economics? Because I always thought that the business is a good place to do something good for the world. Don't you think so?
Yeah.
Oh, yes.
It is.
Well, you
It
learn.
is.
You learn how
and
it
this
works.
is
Yeah.
this is what I thought when I was 18 years old. So I want to enroll in business administration, going to do something good for the world. But to be honest, I was very, very disappointed when I started studying because everything was about power, numbers, everything was about forces of the market competing one another. I remember we had one subject that was called human resources, and I thought, wow, human, very good. This is about me. And not at all. It was how to fire people. It was how to reduce the cost, the labor cost.
It's
So
all
people
about-
was considered a resource, money. That's it. And I really, well, so, and in the last grade, I remember in the class, the strategy class, the professor entered into the room and then was writing into the blackboard. The only end of a company is to maximize shareholder value. I raised my hand and I said, I'm sorry, but I do not agree. I said, this is from a Nobel Prize. I said, well, it doesn't matter really to me who said this. Do you think I'm going to devote all my life, all my talents, everything that I have in life just to maximize shareholder value? And he
Exactly.
said to me, you are a communist. I said, no, I'm not a communist.
It's either one or the other.
The thing is, I have made a wrong career choice. So I really decided to forget everything about business. So I took a backpack and I went to India. Have you been in India?
Not yet.
Ever.
No, that's
Not
on our
yet.
bucket list.
No, but I would
Wow.
love to
So,
go.
okay. So all the you three, you have to come with me to India. But India is a fantastic place where you have all the different religions and all the different cultures, languages, everything. People is very special, yeah, and you have everything in a country that is a chaos, that's a completely chaos. The first thing I did was I went to a Tibetan camp and I made friends with a monk, with a Buddhist monk, and he taught me how to make meditation. So this is something I learned when I was very young and really recommend. It's something it was fantastic. And also I was traveling. I rode an elephant. I was doing many things, many things in India. Until one day I was having a conversation with a journalist from National Geographic, and we were talking about the meaning of life.
Uh-huh.
This is a kind of conversation you can have in India. Yeah. In the middle of this fantastic chaos, then you can talk about the meaning of life. And in the middle of the conversation, then the journalist told me, Carlos, do you know what's Caligat? I said, no, I don't know. By any chance, do you know what's Caligat? No.
Mhm.
And well, I said, no. But you know who is Kali, the goddess Kali. You
Yeah, the
remember the
goddess
one with
Kali.
the
Yes.
goddess, yes, the goddess
Yes, I
Kali.
do. She's
So he
everything.
said, yep. And he said to me, there is a temple in Calcutta that was donated to some nuns, to the missionaries of charity. And they took one part of this temple and they filled this room with beds to receive infirm people, people that were living on the streets. And they turned this house into a hospice for people to spend the last days. And he said to me, Carlos, if you want to understand the meaning of life, you have to face the meaning of death.
Mhm.
Mm,
And I said, wow.
mm.
That's strong.
2 days after, I was in a train towards Calcutta.
Oh my
I
God.
remember the day I arrived to the house of the missionaries of charity. It was 6 o'clock in the morning. And then one of the nuns opened the door and said, hey, if you don't mind, now we are doing meditation. You can stay outside here and then you can wait and then we will be with you. Okay. I left my backpack. I was waiting outside the chapel. The chapel, all the nuns were sitting on the floor. No,
Mhm.
no chairs, nothing.
Mm.
And one of the
Nothing
nuns
special.
was, no, nothing,
Yeah.
nothing. It was just on the floor. And one of the nuns was sitting on the floor and looked at me and said, hey, sit here with me. So, wow. Then
There was an
took
order.
my place. It was a woman, small one. Then I look at her. You know who was? Mother Teresa of Calcutta.
Wow. Wow.
I say, wow, my goodness. But
Mother
I could not
Teresa.
believe that. Mother
Wow.
Teresa. Mother Teresa. I
Wow.
mean, I was saying, well, my goodness, how is this possible? I mean, so well, I was trying to keep in silence and to be beside her. And when we finished, then all the nuns went out, and then I went to Mother Teresa and I said, Mother, I want to go to Caligat. She looked at me, said, you know what's Caligat? I said, yes, I want to go to Caligat. And then he said, okay, you have to come every morning. You stay with us for an hour of meditation, and then you go to Caligat. She was very right.
He was
When I
preparing you.
arrived, he
Wow.
was preparing me. He was preparing me because when I arrived to Caligat, one nun told me, well, I saw what my friend, the journalist, told me, 40 beds. And then one nun told me, this guy, this is a Hindu guy. He has been living all the life probably in the streets, and now is suffering, and now is expecting the last days. And you are going to take care of him. You're going to be his friend, his brother.
Mhm.
So what I was doing every morning, I was going to the house, Mother Teresa house, and I was sitting beside her for an hour. Very special. You can imagine how it's
Mhm.
to be for an hour with such a special woman. Was impressive. Then I was going to the house, to Caligat. I was taking care of my friend. I was washing him and then shaving him. I was giving some pills, then
Mhm.
feeding him. Then I learned some Hindu poems and also I learned some Hindu songs because I like singing. I like a lot singing.
Mm.
That's nice.
And I was singing some songs to him. And then I was passing the hours just besides him. And those days were fantastic. You can imagine, full of purpose
Yeah, you
and
gave
meaning
yourself
and
entirely.
everything
Mhm.
entirely. entirely serving others, or is when my purpose in life was fitting with the purpose of the thing we were doing there. It was fantastic
Right.
until it happened, but it was going to happen. This guy died,
Mm.
and he died in my arms.
Oh,
Oh my God.
That
well,
night, I could not sleep.
he didn't die alone. He died with you.
He
That
died with
was,
me.
Mm-hmm.
But you know what happened to me? In that moment, I felt completely empty. Then that night, I was so trying to sleep. No, impossible to sleep. Following day, I went to the house of Mother Teresa, took my place beside her, but I could not meditate at all. I was
Mhm.
burning inside. I was thinking of all the injustice of the world, everything. And when we finished, it happened something that never happened before. Mother Teresa called me. I said, come with me. She noticed something, probably, no, I
right.
imagine.
Yeah.
And then we went to a patio that was besides the chapel. I remember very well. It was a patio with a tree in the middle. And we had a conversation that everything started with what happened. She asked me.
Hmm.
They say, you know, Mother, I've been here for 3 months. I was, I was escaping from other places and looking for answers. And now, after 3 months, I'm completely empty. And then he explained what happened the day before with my friend. And Mother Teresa was listening to me and I said, Mother, what is the meaning of all this? How many beds we have in Calicut? 40 beds. How many people we have dying on the streets every day in Calcutta?
Endless amounts.
Hundreds.
Yeah.
In the world, thousands every day. What's the
Yeah.
meaning of 40 beds in
Yeah.
front of this misery on the world and the injustice? You can imagine, I was really very upset and very emotional. I got very emotional. Mother Teresa was talking with me, um, listening. And when I
Ju-
finished, yeah, when I finished, she said, you know, put love in everything you do. She
mhm.
said, you know, the key is to put love in everything you do. Because what really counts, is not how much you do.
Mm-hmm.
What really counts is how much love you put in the things you do.
Right.
She was saying this in an Indian. She was saying, how much love you put in the doing. She
Mm-hmm.
was
Yeah.
saying,
Mhm.
how
Mhm.
much love
Mhm.
you put in the doing.
Yeah.
Mhm.
That
And
sentence for
that
me
was gonna fill you
was
up. You were empty
wow.
of love.
Then I understood. Then I said, I understand now why I was so happy during all these weeks. It was not how much I was feeding him or how many songs I was playing or singing or poems or anything, how many hours. No, no. It was the love I was putting in all those things, in shaving him, in washing him, in feeding him. So
Hmm.
it's the love you put in the things what makes you happy. It's not
Mhm.
the thing.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
not
It's
how
similar
much.
to like the Buddhist monks, Thich Nhat Hanh in Vietnam. Even whatever you do, when you wash the dishes, when you put
Exactly.
put all your purpose into that,
The
everything.
mindfulness.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mindfulness.
Yeah.
is
It's the
is
mindfulness.
putting yourself, is putting all this love. And
Yes.
you know one thing, that moment, it came to me everything that I learned in the university,
Right.
in the business administration. I was saying, hey, what is business? Business is how much you do. Is how much you do. What counts is how much you do. How
Yeah.
much cost, how much profit, how much you sell,
Exactly.
but then I
But
said, no, but this woman is telling me something different. It's telling me this is not what really counts.
Mm-hmm.
What
so
really
it's
counts
incredible.
is the love you put in those things.
Mm-hmm.
And
Yes, in such a short period of time, you
Authenticity.
got this complete education,
Exactly. This was my
right?
real education.
This was
Exactly.
your I mean, in order to get to that point, you had to learn the business side of it, how things are run. And then you got
Absolutely.
so lucky that you got to see the other side of Mother Teresa's of how things should really run and what's wrong with what you learned in school. Now you could
Exactly.
compare.
It was like reframing everything. I
Mm-hmm.
said, well, It is the love you put in those things, in the production, in the things you do for others, in the things when you sell, when you produce, but it's the love, it's not how
Yeah.
much. And then I said, wow, what about if I try to do this in business?
Yeah.
So this is what I did. So this was the Carlos before and after. So I am a dreamer because the world I dream is really business companies where what really counts is the love you put in the doing, in the things you do.
And the
And
purpose.
this is the purpose. This is the
That's the purpose.
idea that then brought me to the purpose because this is the meaning.
I
Yeah,
have
you're
one question, Carlos, because we talked. I mean, I had the privilege to have lunch with Carlos in Ecuador one time, and I was explaining that I find the purpose where your wound is. In Spanish, ¿dónde te duele?
Donde
And
te
it was
duele.
very interesting because I asked Carlos the question, and you told me everybody has a story. And it was interesting how I find purpose like that because there are many ways to get to purpose. Can you please explain me what you explained me that you were working with the number 3, the heart, the mind, the arm? I don't remember it was the arm, but
Well,
it was a different way to get to the purpose, right?
absolutely. Indeed. For me, to be honest, for me, purpose is the excuse really to express this idea of how to put love in the doing. Yeah.
Mhm.
For me, purpose is like the vehicle to understand. So I was trying to really say how to explain people what is the meaning of putting love in the doing, because people can say, wait, what is this? Now, how to explain it?
yeah.
So, but I was so I dedicated time making research, investigating, reading, etc. So I discovered a way to explain the idea of purpose that is bringing this idea of putting love in the things. So what is purpose? Purpose is something that you have in your head,
Mhm.
something that you know, something that you can explain. Yes. But also purpose is something that you have in your hands. Because also something that you do. It's not only something that you think and then you put it in a picture and then you put it in the wall. No, it's
Mhm.
something that you
Mhm.
do every day. But purpose, if you do like this, this is head, hands, head, hands, head, hands. You think, you do. You plan, you put the objective, you try to achieve it. Then you make the strategy, you implement it. But this is very hard. And this is really how much you do. Head, hands, head, hands, head,
That's the
hands.
exercise.
What really counts is to include what I call the silver triangle. That
Mhm.
is the triangle that you form between your head, your hands, and your heart.
Hmm.
And this is the heart. Yeah. Yeah. So the head, the hands, and the heart. And this is the three things. This is a silver triangle, I call it. This is the way we can express like is putting love in
Mhm.
everything you do. But when you do the three things at the same time, and this is for me, is the way I like to explain the idea of purpose. It's not just a sentence. It's really a conversation you have. It's an internal conversation you have with yourself,
Mhm.
Hmm.
between your head, your heart, and your hands.
Yeah.
And this is the way you practice this every day. And this is for me, this is what Ana Maria we had in this lunch, we were talking about this, no? And how to really to find the harmony between the three things.
Yeah.
Purpose is harmony. It's not
No.
a matter of efficiency. It's not just to achieve things or to achieve some objectives. It's not even just to succeed. It's harmony in your life. No? It's harmony. The harmony between what you think and what you do,
Yeah.
between what you think, what you feel, and what you feel and what you do.
Hmm.
These three things at the same time
The
are
number 3.
creating the number three. Yes,
Yeah.
yes.
Now,
The
It,
silver triangle.
do you measure purpose?
We measure purpose, yes.
Mhm.
Indeed, we are using this triangle, yeah,
Mhm.
in companies. to measure, and we are measuring purpose in companies in a way, well, organizational purpose. No? What we measure is the experience of purpose. No?
Mm-hmm.
And we are doing this after 7 years of research. Yeah, we made measurement of more than 300 companies, and then we discovered that you can measure purpose with 3 questions.
With
Three again.
frequency?
Three questions.
Okay.
3
Oh,
questions,
okay.
just 3 questions. We started with more than 100 questions.
Yeah.
And then we were reducing to 38, then we were reducing more and more. But then we saw that with 3 questions, you can capture the idea of purpose, the purpose experience in an organization. This you can do in a company, you can do in a school, you can do in any organizational environment. And these 3 questions are very simple. The first question is, and this is the most important one.
You can do to the 3 of us. I mean, one is head, the other is heart, and the other is hand, because we're number 3.
Yes.
So what are the questions?
Go with the questions.
The questions, this is something that we ask to the people. The first question is, okay, do you have connection? So the purpose of your company, the place you are working is connecting with your personal purpose. This is very important.
Mm-hmm.
This is very important. When you find really this connection, this is like magic. This is like you're connecting the 2 things. It's like an explosion, you know. And this is the first question. The first question is, how do you experience this? Are you working in a place, you know, where you find this fulfillment of your personal purpose in life? Do you really experience this, you know, in your work?
Yeah.
First question. But this is not enough. You can think that this is enough. Maybe, okay, if I'm working in a company that is aligned with my purpose, then everything is going to be fine. No. You know why? Because then there is another thing that is very important, is the behavior of management is consistent with this purpose.
Mm. Mm-hmm.
Watch out, managers.
Yeah.
Watch out, managers.
Yes. Very
And
important.
This is very important because my purpose could be aligned with the purpose of my company.
Mm-hmm.
Good. But if I see that my managers are not consistent and
It messes everything
are not authentic, it misses. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Then the experience could be even worse than if I work just in a company that hasn't, because I'm feeling bad, really, you know. So this is the second
frustrating.
question. It's frustrating. Yeah. So this is the second question where we can measure this. But there is another one that is also very important, because you have companies where maybe managers are consistent. Maybe they believe in this because it's a family company, or for many years they have been doing. But what about my colleagues? What I'm seeing around me? You know? And this is the other thing that is influencing a lot. So first question is about myself. Second questions, managers. And then third questions, the behavior of my colleagues is consistent with this purpose. So this is the way we are measuring this. I like to say it's not exactly scientific what I'm going to say, but with this we can measure a little bit of this love that I was talking before. No? Because when people is really is feeling this connection of purposes, then it's an expression of love. No? And then also when they see that the managers are really consistent, no? It's because they feel that they are loved, that they are important in the company as well, because they are part of this purpose. No? And also when you see this connection with your colleagues, hey, I have this connection with the purpose, but also my colleagues are on the same purpose. We're in the same boat. Yeah. And then you create this magic of purpose.
It becomes one. Everybody's a family.
It's like you're on a frequency, a frequency.
Exactly.
Yeah.
It's the flow.
Yes,
it's the flow.
Yeah,
In quantum physics, in quantum physics, we called the frequency and how to get into the flow. So if you connect with love, you're in the highest frequency, and that's how you can measure the flow also. But it's what we do in healing.
I like it.
Yeah,
I like it. Yeah, absolutely. Yes.
That's a beautiful. It's a very touching way of thinking about it.
Well, and it creates, it improves everybody's livelihood and everybody's experience in this world. I mean, that's a dream to go to a place that you are aligned with the values, with the people. It doesn't become a job.
And one last question that I think it's very interesting, especially for our audience. We have been interviewed a lot of people that have hit rock bottom and how they have gotten out, and we were talking about love. I mean, have you hit rock bottom in your life in some way that you have gotten out with love, or what tools have you used? Because we have interviewed already a lot of people, but yeah, they talk about everything they did, the excellence. But now this kind of what we're doing now is see the human part of everybody we're interviewing. In this case, what has been like the worst thing that has happened to your life, and how have you gone up again?
Like
Not
in a
drowned.
like in a crucible moment, no?
Uh-huh.
Crucible moment in my life. You know, there is a time when I was 26, no? So after India, then I was working for Tata in India.
Mm-hmm.
It was a very good company. Then I
Wow.
went to Mexico. Then I went to UK, and then the president of the company I was working for, he called me when I was in UK, and he offered me a position to be the general manager of a company of 500 people. I
Okay.
was 26 years old. And that moment I said, "Oh my goodness!" But I said, "No, I'm sorry. I think you're wrong. I mean, are you calling me?" He said, "Yes, yes."
He saw
Said,
something in you.
You saw something in me. I
Yeah.
said, "My goodness." So, well, okay. So I said, "Okay, but first we have to have a conversation." So I explained to him, but all the managers are double me, double. I have the double of my age. So how to? And he said something to me that really touched me. And he said, Carlos, you have to do something. Is love your people. Love your people, and everything is going to be right.
Wow.
So I listened to this, and to be honest, I mean it was touching me, but okay. Then the week after I went to the company, when I arrived it was Monday morning, 8 o'clock in the morning. When I arrived to my office, the secretary, before I was asked me, uh, "Are you going to your office?" I said, "Yes, I'm going to my office." And then I realized something strange was happening. Which question was the door was closed. And then I opened the door, and then I saw in my table, so in the table of the general manager, in my chair, in the chair of the general manager, was one guy,
Oh.
big one, very big, 2 meters high, very big. I was saying, he looked at me and said, "I was supposed to be in this place."
Oh
And I said,
no.
"My goodness."
How he
First
went
day,
back.
You were
first
sitting in
day, first,
the
So he
CEO.
was
first
sitting
day.
in your chair?
He was sitting in
Wow.
my chair, in my table.
So what did you
So,
do? That's
so that
that was your
moment,
best decision as a
it
boss.
came, it came to
That
my
was your
mind.
test.
Yeah.
It was my first test that I was in. I have to love this guy. My goodness.
And
My God.
he was probably a lot
Two-
older than you, huh?
Well, he was 60 years old.
Oh,
He was,
yeah.
and
He was
well, he was a
upset.
good guy, but he was very upset. You can
Mm.
imagine. And he was the one that probably someone told him that he was going to be the next
Right.
CEO, etc. Okay. So, well, doing the story short, but I was thinking, okay, so I'm going to try to love this guy. And
I
not
will
only
love
him,
you.
but also, I didn't say that at that moment. Indeed, what I said in that moment is, okay, you're going to do one thing. First, stand up. You see. And then I
He
called
did
the
it.
secretary. I called the secretary because I said, wait, I don't want to have this. I was a witness, now
Right.
here. But, and then I said, my secretary, let's make an appointment with this guy. Let's make an appointment every Monday, 11 o'clock. And we are going to talk about this.
That was very good. That was a
Yeah.
great
And
way to
then,
handle it.
yeah, and
You,
then, well, I saw in this company, they had a strike some months ago, and they had a very good, very bad ambience and relationships. All people was just thinking about the title, and then
right.
the most important was the title, director.
And
So
how much
some
money they
people,
make. Yeah.
money, how much, how can I, how can, well, this is something I tried, no? But you remember the president, when after 6 months, I had to go to the headquarters to present the results and to the board and everything. So I was preparing a lot of information, everything. Also, I had all the numbers in my head. So preparing for any question that I was going to answer very quickly, I said, everything. So the board was very good, results were okay. And when we finished, the president called me. Hey, Carlos, how are you? How is life? I said, "Yeah." Carlos, tell me one thing. Do you love your people? I was not prepared for that
not
question,
not
to be
everybody.
honest. I was not prepared to this
You're
question
like,
from
it
my boss.
depends.
So I said, well, I'm trying. At that moment, it came to my mind that the guy that was saying, I want your place,
Yeah.
etc. So, but I said, yes, I'm trying. I'm trying. It's okay. Okay. He said, okay. So 6 months after, I went to the board again. I present my results. And when we finished, the president called me, and I was expecting for this question. Carlos, do you love your people? I said, yes, I love my people. I'm doing my best. And then he asked me, do they notice?
Some of them.
My goodness, I don't know if they notice. So 6 months after, I went to present results, and then the results were very good, to be
Okay,
honest,
okay.
and were very good. And in that case, congratulations, the results are very good, you're doing very well, etc. But Carlos, this is not the most important thing. You remember what's the most important thing? I say, yes, I think so. You are going to ask me. Yes, I'm going to ask you. Do you love your people? Do they notice it? I say, yes, I think so. And do they love their people? I said, my goodness, this guy is incredible. You know what? The president called all the managers for different countries. Yeah,
Uh-huh.
this was a family company, and the president called all the managers. We went to a hotel, and then he said, "Okay, I'm going to give you a speech, very short." He started. He said, I'm going to tell you what I told you when I appointed you for this position. Love your people. Love them with true love. Love each other. Help your people and encourage your people to love their people. And this is what you have to do, and everything is going to be okay. And I was very surprised. And all of us were looking at each other saying, hey, but you, he was telling this to you as well. I don't know why. I was thinking that he was just telling me all these things to me. But no, he was saying, and in every board, after every board meeting with any of the companies of subsidiaries, etc., he was asking the same question to everybody. Do you love your people? Do they notice?
Did your mind go back to when you were in Calcutta with Mother Teresa?
Yeah.
Exactly.
Of
Yeah.
course. It
Of
started.
course.
One
Of
one
course.
and one
Of
last
course.
question. What message would you like to give to the world right now? I mean, it's a mess politically or
I'm in Los
whatever.
Angeles. It's a
She's in
mess.
Los Angeles. So Los
Oh, yeah, I
Angeles,
can
San Diego, and
imagine.
Washington, D.C.
I can
What
imagine.
message you would give to politicians, to everything what's happening in the world right now?
Maria, after listening the message I told you at the beginning, I cannot say another one. Put
Okay.
love in everything you do.
Yeah.
Because what counts, what really counts, is not how much you do, it's how much love you put in the things you do. And I think this could self, even what is happening in Los Angeles today, even if it was happening everywhere. I mean, if we really look at the things, not thinking that it's how much you do, how much you earn, how much. It's how much love you put. How much love I'm going to put in now, in this moment.
Yeah.
In every moment.
And it's
So
not
this
just
is the-
this is the
corporations
mission.
everywhere.
Yeah, it's about
Yeah.
the whole thing comes
It's the whole thing.
about
Yeah.
it's love, you know.
So for me, love your people
Hmm.
and put love in the doing.
Thank you, Carlos.
Thank you, Carlos. That was amazing and inspiring, and I'm
Was-
so happy that you
It
are.
was
with
great.
Yes, thank you very, very much. We are so grateful
Thank
that
you.
you came on to our show, I Am Conversations. Thank you,
That was a
Carlos.
lot of fun,
It
Carlos.
was great meeting you, but
It
I
was-
want to spend
Yeah.
more time with you. I
Yeah,
think
we
really
can-
We'll
we
do
have
a
to-
part two.
all the
We're gonna
workshop.
we'll do a
And-
part two.
And,
Yes.
and you know that McLovia didn't know we were gonna wear white. I told her, "What are you gonna wear?" And it's like a white shirt.
Oh, I
I'm
already
gonna wear white.
know.
And she didn't know.
I already
and it's
know.
Like, oh, you're.